I'm going to try go for 6.5 kilograms. The toughest foot race on the planet. And drink while you're watching.
Hi, Paul. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Good to catch up again.
Been a while. So, I'm
Been a
gonna dive
been a bit
straight.
going on, I should
Yes,
say.
I know. I heard this is exciting times. I've actually got goosebumps before we start talking. So, what's the exciting news? What are we doing?
Okay. Marathon des-sables have been a long time coming. It's been that yeah, you think of all the things I've done over the last few years, some pretty big events. This is the big one,
Yeah,
right? It is something I planned to do leading up to it coming into COVID. And it was the big one I was going to do, and then COVID came along and we kind of moved on, and we've done a lot of things since then.
yes, Norseman.
But
Yes,
this is Norseman, we've done Swim Around Keppel, we've done Comrades, we've done X-Tri, Himalayas, done a fair few things, Ultraman.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
it was in the mix, but then there's always been this one, which is, they say, it's the toughest foot race on the planet. Probably deserves that label from what I've seen. And
Absolutely.
it's one of those things. I think everybody who knows how I think. There's got to be a reasonable or a high chance of failure of a big challenge, and this is exactly that.
Indeed.
It scares me. It's a massive event. 250 kilometers, averaging a marathon a day, um, over 7 days is just huge. And it's in the desert, and it's hot, and you have to carry all your own gear. Yeah, it just blows my mind in terms of
And
the
mine.
logistics of it, the challenge of it, and it's just it's the big one. It's the big
There,
one.
there's a lot of questions I've got to fire at you because, like you say, it's not blowing your mind, it's going to blow everybody's mind, and especially those people who have never heard of it before. Because to run
Hmm.
many marathons in 7 days, can the body actually withstand that?
I mean, the body can withstand it. We just need to understand how.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you need to plan it? What pace do you actually want to do it? Because end of the day, somewhere between 800 and 1,000 people do it every year, right? Yes, in some years when it's extremely hot, there's a high dropout rate. But everybody who does that race, and I've seen loads of YouTubes, doing all the research, and the one consistent thing that comes back from every video is that it's one of the hardest things they've ever done. Purely just from the environment and the effort, and what really establishes what pace are you actually doing
Mm.
early in the race, in the middle of the race, at the end of the race, how
Yep.
much you need to endure.
Mm.
Bottom line is, when you get into ultra world, ultra races, the true definition really of what it feels like to do ultra race, at some point, everything is going to tell you to stop.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to convince yourself in your mind, there's no ways I should continue because there's no ways I'm ever going to get this done.
Mm.
There's too far to go, or I've just got nothing left. Too much. There's the legs are in pain, and at some point, if that's an ultra race, when at some point during that race, it's going to be, everything's going to tell you to stop. But you take another step and another step and another step, and and eventually, you go through peaks and troughs and roller coasters, but you get there in the end. I mean, Dean Canantis wraps it up in his statement. Ultra running takes you places you'd never usually go, and he's not talking about locations.
Oh no, no, it's not. No.
Yeah, he's talking about that mindset that you actually need.
Yeah.
The first part of an ultra marathon is easy.
For you.
Then it gets hard. No, no, for anybody.
That's
It's first part of it. It's not if it does some basic training. First part is easy. Middle part is reasonably hard. At some point, you're going to reach the point where everything is going to tell you in your mind you cannot carry on because you've done it. But you carry on and you find a way and you get through it. And that's what he's talking about there.
yeah, absolutely.
That decision point. And that's an ultra, whether you do a 1 day ultra, a multi-day ultra, a stage race, whatever. This one being 7 days, where you do a marathon, well, I think it's 250 kilometers in 7 days in 6 stages.
Yeah.
You've got to do a marathon in sand, in the desert, whatever. Get up in the morning and do it again. Get up in the morning and do it again. Get up in the morning and do a double marathon. Get up in the morning and do it again. That's what excites me about this race is the getting up in the morning and moving again. Yeah.
That is one crazy statement to make. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And you go through that process of my mind mapping it up, and then you got to remember, hold on, I've got to carry everything I'm going to eat, everything I'm going to use, other than the water I'm going to drink. I've got to carry on my back while you're doing this effort.
Exactly.
Blows your mind.
So before we continue talking anymore, otherwise we're going to start covering questions that I've got for you, because we could talk about this for hours. So you've already discussed and highlighted your overall motivation for doing this, but what does finishing the race mean for you for these 250 kilometers?
It's probably nothing to do with the physical side of things. Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, what a physical effort. The fitness you need to have, the strength you need to have, the resilience you need to have, the stamina you need. That's the first place your mind goes. Bottom line, this is a mind thing. You go into this as actually getting through all those troughs, all those, the hard bits, the really hard bits, the nighttime runs, the sandstorms, sleeping with very little, little or no mattress every single night, the low calories, the mindset that carries with it to actually just keep going and finishing that race just means what is going to hold you back. You can be broken down mentally, you can be convinced, you can go through really, really hard times, but if you can go through something like that, it prepares you for other things. And I think I'm more interested in how I respond from a mindset and perseverance perspective than a physical perspective. So getting through that race means, you should be able to endure anything from a mental and mindset and resilience perspective. And it's the resilience that really interests me as to how resilient am I really?
Yeah, I got it. Okay, it's going to be an interesting one for sure, definitely. And so now we've got that. You've got your training strategy. What does that look like? How are you structuring your training for the next 7 months? Like, what the mileage, training with, like, I think you started already wearing some backpack, haven't you? So what does that training strategy look like for the next 7 months for you?
So I think I'm fortunate that I've got a pretty big base. Coming through, I mean, I've done 16 Ironman races. I've done extreme triathlons. So I've got a pretty good fitness base to build on, which means during my training, I'm really going to get in early into specifics. Running on sand. Fortunately, I've got an island out here, Morton Island, it's got sand. I've got the British Valley Rail Trail, which is very rocky, hot, which simulates the riverbeds. So simulation is really important to me. The one thing I've been watching YouTubes, and I've seen loads and loads of YouTubes people, it astounds me that how many people go into that race and they actually haven't really tested what it's like to run on sand, what it's like to carry an 8-kilo backpack again and again and again, day after day. What it's like, shoes. What's going to happen when your feet do start breaking down?
Yes.
Rather than having comfortable shoes, these shoes feel great for a 30-kilometer run.
Yeah.
Do 250 kilometers when you might be blistered and feet taped up and how is that going to work? So test is really important to me. Test everything. I'll be spending some time sleeping on the floor. To see what level of mattress I'm going to cope with. Weight is everything in that race. Watching the YouTube, some people go in with 12, 14 kilogram backpacks. Even if you're doing a walk run strategy, the lighter you are, the better you're going to cope with it. So you got to work out what is that baseline I can get to in terms of weight. You only find that out by really, really testing it. So a lot of my training is going to be training. I'm going to do a lot of volume. 100-kilometer plus, 100-kilometer plus per week. Triathlon background, so I've always had cycling and swimming and running, mixing them up. I'm taking a triathlon sabbatical, so running is going to be core and center. I could be doing 100+ kilometers per week, building up to probably around about 120, 130. But in mixed into that, I'm going to be doing a lot more events, longer events. I'm going to run around Morton, 90 kilometers in a day. Rambo Beach Marathon, which is all beach sand. So building a lot of specifics, a lot of volume, and a lot of even if I do them by myself, weekends which are big weekends of repeats and backing up and stimulating that environment. I can't predict. I can set a structure for what I want to do.
Mm.
You can only train as much as you can recover.
Got it. Yes.
Looking at those recovery metrics and make sure, yes, I'm overloading my body so it can actually get stronger and resilient,
Yeah.
but making sure I'm recovering as well. So setting a strict volume, say I'm going to do 150 kilometers a week, is unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because I might try it and get to 100 kilometers, my body doesn't recover quick enough. I need to control that. So it will be bound by recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds like a good way to do it. And you've touched on this a bit, and it's the mental preparation. I mean, it's the running up to the race, and it's got the 7 days. So what are the strategies? You've already mentioned the resilience, to deal with that, and how do you plan to deal with being out in the desert where there's a few of you doing this, but there's going to be occasions where you're on your own. How are you mentally and emotionally going to be dealing with some of those sections?
Really fortunate in that being on my own doesn't bother me. I can, yeah, I'm an introvert by nature.
Yeah.
So being on my own doesn't, but still it gets scary, middle of the night and it's dark and you can't see any lights and everybody. That's to me, those types of things where you're in that bad space or you feel threatened or you feel at risk or whatever, going into there being prepared for that and knowing you're actually going to go as part of the journey. Going into a race like this and do it the extreme trials and mental preparation, thinking that everything's going to go swimmingly.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We enter ultras because we know it's going to take it to that horrible dark place.
Yeah.
That's why we enter these things and get through them.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of people seem to enter races hoping it's going to be they've done all the training and the preparation and everything's going to go swimmingly, and it's going to get hard, but it's not going to take them to the edge. All right, but the definition of ultra, as I mentioned earlier, is going to take you to the edge, and you've got to expect it. So when you go there, you've already made this decision before you turned up. You're not going to go there. When you do go there, as you do get there, it's a question of how do I get through this?
Yeah.
Rather than do I want to get through this? It's a message of how. So the mental preparation is constantly repeating, I know I'm going to go there. I know I'm going to be on the edge. I know everything's going to tell me to stop.
Yeah.
And you get this button that you can actually press and disciples. There's one, I need help. I need some medical attention maybe. It's the one button, and I'll send somebody to come and find you wherever you are and see what you need, medical attention, but you'll get a penalty, an hour penalty if you do that. There's the other button that said, I'm out. Send a college and they'll come pick you up and you're out of the race.
Oh wow, I didn't know they had those. Okay.
Yeah, the trackers to do that. And the problem is with that is there is an out. You open the flap and you press the button, I'm out, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's an easy out. And so you've got to be prepared not to go there.
You really do. I wonder how many people have pushed that in the past. Oh my goodness. Okay, well that's really interesting to know because I didn't know about that. So we're talking about the resilience and mental preparation. So let's go a little bit lower down to your feet. So have you already decided what type of race shoes you're going to use? What do you think that looks like? And what are you going to do pre-race, during the race, and after to look after your feet? Because that's going to take a lot of battering, training and the 7 days consistently.
So that's one thing I'm quite confident. It's probably the one decision I've already made. I run in ultra shoes. It starts with an A, not U. Ultra running. The reason why I run in those shoes is they've got a very wide toe box. They are built for trail running, but the front of the shoe is quite wide, so your toes can spread out and spread, and you can actually it actually fixes the biomechanics of your feet, and so you can run naturally. But the nice thing about them, because they've got the wide toe box, is that if you get into trouble, your feet start swelling, there's space for them to move beyond what your normal shoe which traditionally would allow. If you have to tape up your feet, there's space to accommodate that. If you have to tape up your toes or you get blisters, again, there's space for that.
Yeah.
Now, one would say, well, one, you just get a bigger shoe. Then there's room to move and room to
Yeah,
grow.
good question.
But then the heel
Oh,
is
yes.
to use.
Oh, yeah, of
If
course.
you're
Yeah.
going to get swelling, it's going to be in the front of the foot. If you're going to get blisters, it's generally going to be at the front. All right. Now, the ultra shoes, I've got it there right here. You can actually see the width there is a lot wider in terms of the shoe. Your toes can splay out. It keeps you good balance, good foot movement. But the back is traditional. The back of the shoe is traditional.
Yeah.
So it's if you need to bandage up the front or tape your feet, etc., you're still going to have a nice steady fit on the front. Now, I've always run with the shoes. This is the Lone Peak. I may go through the next one up, which actually just same structure of the shoe, exactly the same shape, slightly bigger lugs at the bottom to grip the sand a bit better. So I may change those, but that's the shoe. A lot of people will say, Hokers. A lot of people in Ultraman are just Hokers.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on those? Because that has come up quite a lot with others.
Because of the front.
Right.
They're a traditional shape, keeps the toes in, compressed, hasn't got that wide space at the front.
Right. Yeah, that
And
sounds
they've
good.
got a little bit more of a lift at the back in terms of the ramp. These are generally 0 ramp or 2 mm ramp.
Got it.
For the other shoe, which I've been running in for years, so I don't want to change that. So
No.
I've been running these for 5 years. I've got normal road shoes. I've got light trail shoes. I've got these heavier trail shoes. So they just work. There's no reason for me to move.
No.
So that's one decision made. I know the shoes I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I tested the last time I did Morton Island, 90 kilometers of beach sand.
Yeah.
Didn't get one blister.
Oh, well, there you go. It sounds like
No sand in the shoes, didn't get one blister
already.
Yeah,
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And so we've got the shoes all good. So now it's with this race, you only get to take some stuff and it's your backpack. So what's the target weight? Because you're going to be carrying this every day. What's going to be fitting in there? What's clothing wise? Do you take lots of sets of clothing? Like, how do you fit everything in such a bag for 7 days?
Yeah. Now, as I said, part of the next 10 months leading into this race is about test. My intention is the minimum weight you're allowed of your backpack without water is 6.5 kilograms.
Oof.
They won't allow you to start without less than 6.5 kilograms. The maximum weight is 15 kilograms. They allow you. So you've got to be in that window, 6.5. Now that includes your food, all your clothes, everything but water they give you needs to be in that bag. They give you you get to sleep under a bivviak,
okay,
which they supply, and you get water, and that's it.
And do they have lots of water points on the way?
Yes, yeah. There's checkpoints with water. So it comes back to, okay, how do you manage that weight? Now, straight away, 4 to 4.5 kilos is food, because you've got to carry your own food. They don't supply you with food. And there's the minimum amount of calories you've got to have per day. And that adds up to about somewhere between 4.5. So if you want to go 6.5 kilos, you've got a 2 kilogram window.
Right.
That includes the backpack, which is generally about half a kilo.
Oh,
so now you've got 1.5 kilos
for
everything you want to use outside of food.
This is okay.
Everything I've read is anybody, unless you need the comforts, you don't take them.
I was going to ask, are you going to take a comfort
Not
item?
about want and need. Unless you actually need them, don't take them, because they will generally offset, and the weight is going to offset that. So I've been training so far, just started training for the last few weeks with a 7.5 kilogram bag. So I put basically sand pockets in this backpack, and I train with that at 7.5 kilos. So that is 6.5 plus water.
Yeah.
You think about it. My intention is to go 6.5 right now in my mind. Yeah,
really?
Go as light as possible. I'll sleep at home certain nights on the floor, see what's the minimum mattress I can bear.
Yeah.
Very light sleeping bag, spend a little bit of money on a really light sleeping bag.
Yeah.
One shirt, one pair of shorts, 2 pairs of underpants, hat, really go back to basics on everything. Now, again, doing the research, Um, a lot of people, even if you want, even if you're going to run some of it, because it's going to be a walk run,
Yeah.
the weight is going to pull you back so much. So I'm going to try go for 6.5 kilograms, but I'll work out as I move forward. I'll do the weekend training, run around more on taking the bare minimum and see how I cope with it.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds like a good idea. I
A
mean,
lot
this
of people
is
take
crazy.
cookers, and they take food, and they take all sorts of things. Some people say, go get your dehydrated food now, all right? Test it. How about you take a week and just drink dehydrated food with cold water, no heat.
Yeah.
See how you go. Do it for 3 or 4 nights.
Yeah.
Dehydrated food, hydrated in a bottle. Eat it. Go for 3 or 4 nights. See how you cope with it. Is it bearable? Are you getting enough nutrition?
Yeah, that's a good idea. And that's my next, that's the next thing I want to cover is some
Yeah.
nutrition. That sounds
Yeah.
hardcore.
So yeah, bringing that weight down and finding out what you can really cope with and what you really need and what you want, and try get it down to 6.5 kilos. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, when you break it down like that, I mean, this sounds incredible for 7 days, you know. Some people can't even go on holiday for 2 days without taking everything. Okay, and you were touching on nutrition there and how you're going to carry it. But what does the nutrition look like? Like you talked about taking the bare minimum and testing it. Like, do you think you'll get enough to give you energy for those days? And then on the side of it, how do you work out what you're going to take to make sure you are nourished enough for the races?
So they've got a rule which they check at the beginning, and they do spot checks along the way. They've got to have a minimum 2,000 calories per day.
Okay.
So that means 7 days.
Yeah.
You need start with 1,400 calories
Yeah.
in your pack, and that's generally going to be 4 kilos, 4.5 kilos. Some people take a lot more than that. Some people stay on the 2,000. I'm quite fortunate because I tend to be, at the intensity I'll be running, I tend to burn mostly fat for fuel. So I'll be using body fat.
Body fat, yeah.
Right? So I reckon I can stay pretty close to that minimum and have plenty of fuel to go through it. Again, to be tested. I've got to confirm that. So I plan to go 1,400 calories done. That will be made up of combination. So you need the sugars.
Yeah.
You know, while I'm running, I'll be using trail brew.
Yeah.
That's my foundation for while I'm exercising. Outside of that, and my meals and back at the bivouac in the tent will be dehydrated food. So it's got to have protein, it's got to have fats, and it's got to have carbs. So it's working out. And again, while you're running, because the pace you're running at, you'll want some solids. So macadamia nuts, which are quite dense in terms of calories.
Yeah.
The nice thing about being a fat burner is that 1 gram of fat has 9 calories.
Yep. Okay.
Carbohydrates, 1 gram of carbohydrate only has 4 calories.
Wow. Okay.
So if you leaned a little bit towards fat in the camp to get the fuel in, it's going to be a lot lighter per gram to actually get the calories in. But while you're exercising at intensity, you probably need more carbohydrates. So it's getting the balance out. And then you need protein because your body needs to rebuild overnight as well. So it's getting that right combination.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people haven't got the base that I've got, and with reliance in the fat burning rate that I've got. So they have to carry more sugars, which is more weight. So that's why I think I can get away with 2,000 calories a day.
Do you
But
think
to be tested.
I was going to say, do you think your body will be fine for the first, say, 3 or 4 days? Do you not think by the 5th and 6th day you might be wanting more because you've been burning it so much? Do you not think maybe?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so scary.
You read the videos, and some people say don't take any more because there'll be so much food floating around because a lot of people they take too much and they can't eat it because you're exercising all the time. They can't get through the food and they're giving it up.
So you can share and benefit from each other, basically.
But you can't make that assumption either that
No.
it's going to happen to you because
No,
other tents,
you don't
the
know.
high performers, will need all their calories.
Yeah.
And eat too little. So you got to leave it to, it's Again, it's test, test, test. What's going to
Absolutely,
happen?
absolutely.
Yeah,
You've got good time for it.
yeah.
You've covered the clothing already when we were discussing about the backpack and everything else, and
Yeah.
you've talked
Mm.
about the shoes. What about socks and blister prevention? Is there anything you think might come up, even though you think you've picked the right shoe, if that should happen?
So what they say is in terms of the feet, no Vaseline, no lubricants on your feet. If sand gets in there, you're gone.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
just
Yeah.
turns into grind like sandpaper.
Oh,
So the biggest thing is protect your feet. Don't let sand get into your shoes. That's the biggest thing. So with shoes you wear, they actually, what we do is we stitch Velcro around the outside of the shoe,
oh,
and
okay.
we get the gaiters that with Velcro that goes out the outside, so it
Yeah, the
stops
gaiters.
any sand getting into the shoe at all. And
Okay.
then wear a calf sleeve over the top of that gaiter, so it really does protect. And don't so the primary thing around protecting the feet so you don't get blisters is gaiters. Um,
Good. Yeah,
yeah, because you got overboard in the gaiter. Do not let sand get in.
that's a biggie.
Um, don't. And then some people say you got to tape your feet. I think I don't, since I've gone to these ultra shoes with the white toe. I haven't had a blister in years. I think the last blister I had
Touch
was
wood. Let's keep
before
it
I
that
came to these shoes, which
way.
is 2010, 11. And Ironman, I got blisters running in the rain. I did that was the last time I got blisters. I did a race, Ultraman, which was 84 kilometers in the rain. We were wading through water because it was flooding and roads. There were cars floating past us. I never got one blister, 84 kilometers. How did I manage and keep the sand out of my shoes?
Right.
I will take some, powder, a little bit of the sachets of powder,
Yeah.
anti-blister powder. I'll take blister plasters. They have big medical tents just set up for blister management along the course.
Okay.
My expectations I will not be getting blisters,
Yeah.
but I'll be prepared for them anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and covering that. So now going back to a little bit of the training and that. So how are you going to balance the resting, the intensity over the next few months? Is there a point where you might back off a little bit, or are you just going to be consistent the whole time?
Very much what we call periodized training. So more or less going 3 weeks, building up, getting a lot of stress, overloading the body, and then taking it and let my body recover. But I'll go forward. I'm getting older. Next month I'll be 63. So recovery is really, really important. The body does recover slow.
Mm.
So I'll judge as I go forward how my body's handling it, and I'll take appropriate rest.
Okay.
What I may need to do is go to a 2 days recovery. Typically I've gone for 1 day recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 days on, 1 day recovery for 3 weeks, and then a low week. At some point, because I need to get those longer runs
Yeah.
in, I may need to have 2 days recovery at some point as well. Yeah.
And how are you tracking all this?
I use some metrics as guidelines, like HRV on Garmin watches.
Yeah.
My resting heart rate. My resting heart rate goes, 46, 47, gets a bit high. I know I'm battling to recover, and I know to back it off a little. HRV I track as well, whether it's balanced, unbalanced.
Yeah.
They're all metrics that you just kind of need to watch, but you can't believe them all the time. But they're
Yeah.
indicators to do you look inside and say, okay, am I really coping with this? Am I actually growing?
Yeah.
That's important. So using those metrics, HRV, resting heart rate are probably the two key ones that I watch. Yeah.
Oh, sounds like a lot to take on board. And then what part of the race are you looking forward to? And what part of the race do you think, will there be a part that you think you might be dreading, having watched a lot of footage on it?
Obviously, the part you're looking forward to is the end.
Yeah.
Crossing the line and finish saying it's done. It's funny. It's the long day. I'm looking forward to that, but I
Okay.
also dread it. That's the one because it's the central part of it. The 90 kilometers. generally going into the night, even and potentially into the next morning.
Oh my gosh.
It's the heart of the race. So
Oh
it's the
my,
one that scares me and the one that excites me.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Before that, probably got a marathon and a 30K. After that, you've got a 21K and a 42K. It's the heart of the race. So that is the day I look forward to, and it's also the day I dread.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be
Yeah.
crazy. And you said you've got these trackers on, so we'll be able to watch you daily. Is that possible?
Yes.
I'll
Yeah,
be
you can follow.
I'll be watching that day.
Yeah. It'll be like watching paint dry, I can
Hey,
promise you. It'll be
we'll be
slow.
watching because this is the day. Oh my gosh, this is really scary. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited
But
for
warning, don't drink while you're watching. Be a lot of drinks between start and finish.
no, absolutely. And to wrap this up, this is so exciting, and I really can't wait for you. What do you think you're going to learn about yourself? Do you think?
I don't know.
Do,
And
do
that's
you
what
think
makes it
you,
exciting.
do you think you
I've
can
done so
train?
many events. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just I'll discover something new about myself. That's the most exciting thing. Now I push myself, particularly extra Himalayas, the first one I did, Ultraman. Yeah, sometimes you push through boundaries, but you get to the end, and but I know I've got the control and everything to push through a lot of boundaries, but I think this one with the repeat, I'm going to discover something new
I like that.
about me. It's going to take me somewhere else.
Yeah, I,
Yeah, as I said, it'll take you places you don't normally go. I
yeah,
think this one is going to take me somewhere I probably don't have the opportunity to go
I think you're right.
in any other scenarios.
Yeah,
And that's what excites me. So it's the not knowing what is going to happen to me in my mind, what I'm going to find out.
yeah.
That's what excites me.
I am super excited for you. And thank you for taking the time today to enlighten us with your journey for the next 7 months. And
Cool.
we look forward to seeing all your videos and what you're going to be doing in training so we can
Yeah.
follow your
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. If it's okay, we'll just keep having some short chats along the way
Yes,
as we
absolutely.
progress
Yeah, we
through
need
the
to. We need
discoveries.
to see how your preparation's going.